lineage, we have Lama, Yidam, Khandro. Lama is our teacher, of course. Whoever that is, whatever lineage they come from, whatever tradition they come from, doesn't matter. Any of the three yanas, Theravada, Mahayana or Vajrayana, Sutrayana, Mantrayana or Zopa Chenpo. And then Lama Yidam. Yidam, okay, that is your personal deity, your personal practice, which your Savi Lama or your guru, your main teacher, will give to you because he understands that that is the one you are connected with. But you could have more than one. And then you have Khandro. Now this is a misunderstanding that some people make. They think that Khandro is ordinary sentient beings, ordinary women or ordinary ladies. That's Bumo. That's not Khandro. Khandro is the Khandroma means she flies in the sky. And so, of course, some people might say, oh no, that's not possible. Okay, in their mind, that's not possible, but that is possible. It's up to your belief. Whatever you see or you believe, that can become true. It doesn't matter if other people don't see or believe. It doesn't mean you're deluded. If you see something that somebody else doesn't see, you might be realizing it at a different level. I don't want to say higher or lower. That's wrong. You're realizing it at your own level, where you're at, right at that moment. So, the Khandro, I do Machig Chud. So Machig Labdron is my Khandro. But so is Senge Chenma, a lion-headed goddess. And so is other so is the others Khandroma, type of Khandroma. So there is external support for some Rinpoche, and they have permission from their teacher, their master, to have that external support, and that Khandroma is physical support, and that is equal to them at same level of spiritual practice as they are. They're not ordinary. You meet the Khandroma or the Sayum or the consort of the teacher. That is the same as meeting the teacher, has the same blessing, can also give you same teachings. Otherwise, they wouldn't be together. This is not ordinary union we're talking about. We're talking about the practice union without attachment between the Khandroma, who's trained all her life to be Khandroma, and lifetimes also she has trained. She is no different from Rinpoche, but she still will receive training from very young age. That is her role, to serve as spiritual support to the Rinpoche. But for monks, we have the three channels. We have the right channel, which is the white substance, and then we have the left channel, which is the red substance, and then we have the middle channel, which is the union. So therefore we don't need external support, physical support. We have those three channels, and then there's special practices of winds and drops that we can do. If you have received those teachings, and then you can do that. If you haven't received those teachings, and let's say, for example, you would do the 6 Yogas of Naropa, you will have some perhaps serious obstacles due to misunderstanding and not having correct teachings, having not received the teachings, or understanding in the wrong way. But there are the faults of the three pots. The first pot is turned upside down, so nothing can go inside. Second is that pot has poison in it, so it's like milk and poison mixed together, and you can't drink it. And third part is 4 parts, I'm sorry. So third part is smashed or cracked, so nothing can stay inside. And then last one is already full. The part is already full means you have so much of yourself and what you think you know, and then not possible to teach you because you're not available to receive that. Like the full pot, it's already full, you can't put anything else in there. So we don't want to have those four defaults of the pot, 4 faults of the pot. Then recently I was talking about the 8 worldly dharmas which are to be avoided. Then there are 4 things to determine whether that is real dharma. At first we get the faith because of the teachings, and then we have transformed our ordinary view to the absolute view of the teacher, and then we get the experience, and lastly we get the realization. So those are the 4 ways that we can know that, oh, okay. So if the teacher is not able to quote where that in the text that came from, then we might have some question. He got this realization through his practice, or he got this realization originally, of course, he should get it from the text. In the case of Pali tradition, there's the Tripitaka. And in the case of the Chan or Chinese tradition, there is the Agama. Then in the case of Zen tradition, we have Dogen sensei, and he has the Shobogenzo. Shobogenzo, something like that, yes. And then of course Bodhidhama has his text, and Wenang has his text. Then each one of those have their text, just like we have Kha-Dro and Tengyur. Within Tengyur, which is commentaries, and then all the great masters of all the traditions are there, giving commentary, interpretation, helping us to understand the Khandro, which is the main text, which the root of that text is the Tripitaka, the Pali text. It would come through the Sanskrit. So for Tibetans, we got it from Sanskrit. From Theravada tradition, they got it from the Pali text. Pali text is original, and we didn't change anything when we get it from the Sanskrit. It's not better, it's not better, not worse. It's just a different. We have to bear in mind that those Theravada tradition are our seniors, just as the Chinese tradition are also our seniors. How can I say this? Well, because Buddha gave the teachings in the southern school first, and then Mahayana tradition, and then Vajrayana tradition, we got teachings also last. So there was a time when there was a king of Tibet named Lang Dharma, and then Lang Dharma tried to destroy all of the Dharma in Tibet. So what had to happen was, in order to restore the tradition, and that's why we have this piping, this thread, this thick thread of blue. And there were monks from China who came to Tibet to restore the tradition, the Gelong and Getsu-Domba and Gelong-Domba. Those are Samanera and Bhikkhu, novice and full ordination. Traditions had to be restored by senior monks from China, and they came to Tibet and they restored that. And then, of course, we had Princess Wangchen, who came and got married to one of the kings of Tibet, and she brought with her Joel Rinpoche tradition, and we still have that today. And so therefore we have some long-standing beneficial mutual relationship with China. Now present conditions are different. We don't have that. Doing the opposite. Actions of China now is like King Lang Dharma trying to wipe out. But I said something that surprised some Tibetans, and that is the Dharma is not in the pecha. The Dharma is a living thing. Dharma is in your mind. When you pass the oral tradition, even if that pecha is burnt up or doesn't exist anymore, if you have that master who has studied and practiced and realized that pecha, then that's the same thing. So it could never be wiped out completely. So then there were statues that were melted down. Of course, there were monasteries that were destroyed, but that didn't wipe out the Dharma. Just the opposite. People became more faithful. They realized even more how precious that is. So in that case, that shouldn't stop us from practicing. If we face difficult situations, as we are now, this is the time that we must practice. This is the time that we see the Dharma alive in our experience, or we don't. We say, oh, a pandemic, oh my God, I'm suffering, and I'm watching people suffering. That doesn't mean that's not true. That is happening. That's at the relative level. But what can we see within this experience of pandemic? So we see interconnectedness, praticca samutpada, interconnectedness of all living things. We're all connected together across this earth. And then we see impermanence, right? The nature of all things is transitory, and therefore it is impermanent. Not going to last. From one moment to the next, everything changes. So the tighter we try to hold on to something as being substantial and solid, and then we suffer even more when we don't have it. It's lost or stolen or destroyed. And then if we have so much attachment to that, we'll deeply suffer. But that's our choice. We don't have to have that. Attachment causes suffering, always. No matter what it is. The ultimate goal of the teacher is not that you will be dependent on them for the rest of your life. Suppose teacher is no longer there. In that case, what would you do? You would be saying, oh, precious teacher is not there. Now what? Well, hopefully you're practicing sincerely what the teacher has taught you. That's the best way to honor that teacher. That is the best way we can honor our teachers. All the lineage master, all the way back to the Buddha, we honor them by practicing. Whatever level we're at, the best we can do. That's all we can do. And in that way, we practice what they taught us, and there's a continuous process. Teacher can become student can become teacher. Again, if we have attachment to these fixed concepts of teacher and student, and then teacher passes away, well, teacher will reincarnate and it will have to be student. Whoever was senior student of that teacher becomes teacher, designated to teach that young reincarnation. Doesn't change the level of realization. But of course, Yangtze, Rinpoche or Truku, has to be taught. Even if we have child prodigy, okay, we could use as an example child prodigy. They have that seed potential from their previous lifetime of knowing. Whatever it is they know, the child prodigy knows something perfectly. But they must study and practice. Whether it's a pianist or artist or whatever it is they are, that seed potential, like our Buddha nature, is there, but we still have to activate that. We still have to practice, and we still have to realize back to our old level again through sincere practice. And we have to have fully qualified teacher. Now in Tibet, we had a traditional way of knowing. That is our Sawi Lama, our Root Lama. How is that? When we heard the name of that teacher, and in that time the hairs on our body would stand up. And when we saw the image, that's just hearing the name of the teacher, when we saw the image of that teacher, and then tears of joy would come to our eyes. And that happened to me, both things, with my Sawi Lama. So I know that that is just merely re-established connection with the teacher. Teacher before, and then teacher again. I had not only just within one tradition that experience, all the traditions I have studied, because I'm Rime, which means non-sectarian, and that means within Nima and Kagyu and Shakya and Gelu, all my old teachers, all